Great. So, motion matching. This is a new feature that was introduced in Unreal 5.4. And basically what it is a way to blend a certain set of animations based on how the pawn is moving, on the direction of its movement. In this Quick GIF pretty much shows that system exactly. And we'll just dive real quick into the example here. I'll show how to set it up. But first, this is kind of like a quick example. I have, I think, four different animations for the just this character. One of the animations are the right movement, left movement. You have forward, back, and just this one, which is standing still idle animation. And so as you can see, it switches between these four animations very natively. So in order to set this up, what you need is obviously the plugins, because those features right now are experimental. So you need trajectory. So motion trajectory, and then I believe it was movement. Yeah. I forgot the name of that plugin. There is basically another plugin which you need to activate character movement or something like that. Sorry. But once you activate it, you will have access to this menu here, animations, motion matching, and you will have access to those menus. But first, in the blueprint main character, what needs to be done is you need to add a component which is, again, trajectory, character trajectory. And so once it's added, you basically have access to everything that it can do. And if we just take a quick look at settings here, it basically tracks pretty much lots of things like gravity, acceleration, friction, basically a drag force. You have mass. You can also do like flying, crouching. There are like lots and lots of things that you can hook up in order to implement specific logic. And so if you go into the animations and create this one, search database, you can add later on all those different animations that you have here into this set. Just simple drag and drop. And this is basically how it previews it. And as you can see, it identifies the movement based on the root motion of the character rig. And so here are the four different plus the idle animation that doesn't do anything, it just stands there. And based on that, it will blend depending on how quick character moves. Additionally, you will have these two additional things again that you can add in here in order to set it up. So normalization and the schema. In normalization, this is basically where you just connect the PSD. And again, because it's kind of like an array, we can have multiple animation sets here. So for example, we have a character that moves, and that character maybe also fights, and I don't know, maybe swims and flies. That would be like different sets added into here. And the this thing has some additional like parameters for how the what channels tracked. what channels it's using. And there is again like a huge list here from what you can use and in how you can set it all up. And the last piece of the puzzle is the animation blueprints. In animation blueprints, you need to cast to that trajectory component that we've added into the main character BP, which is this one, and then just set these two variables and connect also those nodes. And by doing just that, you have your character playing based on just the movement. Obviously, this is like a very simple setup, and there could be lots of things done with it. From what I see from all the parameters that are listed in here, Unreal Engine supposed to Epic supposed to release a project which will show the most use cases for it. And I guess most of the features will be implemented in there. Right now, this is pretty much kind of like a guess game in terms of how to set it up. There is, again, no documentation pretty much. But yeah, that's the thing.
Cool, thanks for that. So a couple of questions then. So the intention of motion matching, as you understand it, that is meant to be a replacement for animation blending, or
Yeah,
is it a?
it's a replacement for station machines and also blend spaces, state machines, yeah, blend spaces. So before that, we've been setting all this up in those systems, and it was a bit heavier in terms of the setup that you need to do. In this one, it seems like it again identifies everything pretty automatically. I haven't even needed to like any set up any rules for how to switch between those different animations. It determined it all on its own.
Okay. And so I have a question there then, because I think in the examples you've done, you haven't needed any logic to sort of transition between the animation states that you've been showing. But if I imagine that if you have, say for example, if I'm in combat, right? So I have a weapon out and I'm in combat, and then I run into water. And so now the weapon needs to go back on my back. I then need to go into a swimming position, and now I need to do the swimming animation. Sort of, I'm curious as to a how would that operate here with motion matching, because there you'd have logic involved in terms of recognizing, okay, the character's in the water now, so it needs to sort of switch. My second question attached to that, when you're showing the database asset for, I think it was like post search database, I think it was, with that, how has there been a suggestion as to best practice for how that should be organized? So is it sort of a database per movement category? So combat animations would be a database, swim animations would be a database.
Well, right now, answering the second question, right now my understanding is that yeah, it's possibly characterized based on the just category of like a specific set of motions that's supposed to happen. Again, when Unreal releases their test project, where they claim they're going to be like 500 different animations, we will see like specifically how it is set up. But yeah, it's grouped based from what I see right now. It grouped based on the specific animation set, like function, what you're supposed to do. So the walking is one set, and then swimming is the other. And I'm assuming you can add an animation notify when you switch between these two.
And Have you experimented with or seen examples of the logic side of things? So traditionally in a state machine, when you were transitioned between animation states, there would be something that sort of denotes that, right? Um, like some sort of state to say or flag. Okay, well, because I've jumped and collided with a ledge, I'm now going to climb.
Well, yeah, I guess
If you haven't run into that,
it's
it's okay. I'm just wondering if any of the resources you've seen, if with it attempting to be a replacement to state machines and to an extent in blend spaces, did you see examples of how the logic was handled?
so far it's just this simple example that is in the documentations.
Okay.
I don't really see how exactly to set it up. Again, this is why I'm waiting for that project to be released,
Yep.
because I'm very curious to look this up. But again, I'm assuming because you have all those events here in different stuff that you can track, so you can also search more character movement. So there are lots of things that come from just
Well, this is the character
um,
movement component
just
itself, right? These are a bunch of delegates that are available with that component.
yeah. And so I'm assuming that the setup that they intending for this is you just cook all of it to whatever animation notifiers you're going to fire
Hmm. All right.
in the animations themselves.
Yeah.
It's still a bit awake, uh,
TBD
but
then.
it's
Yeah.
yes.
Yeah, it's still a bit of a murky thing in my head at the moment, but like you said, they'll come out with their example project. Questions from anyone else?
So most of the examples are for things which are fairly gloopy, organic kind of things. Is this useful at all for things which are not kind of like a an animal or a creature?
Yeah, so if we have a mech, for example, same
Tim, do
thing
you
will
mean
work.
a mech or like like a Jabba the Hutt slime?
Well, both of both of those are still kind of organic. I'm thinking more like um, something which is completely not a like organic or simulating organic, right? Yeah, maybe a mech. So
Yeah, or
something
like
Maybe
that
a
has sort of
maybe
airplane.
like
more
a jet engine
a
turbine.
jet engine or yeah, or like something
Yeah,
or like a some kind of digger or something that moves but way more mechanically.
yeah,
Or a
same
gun,
thing.
right? Guns have animations for like reloads and things like that.
Yeah, exactly, same thing. You just have a set of animations, and you will play this set of animations based on whatever event you have set it up for it. So yeah, it doesn't really matter whether it's organical character
Mm,
or it's something mechanical.
okay. Okay.
Cool. Anyone else? Thank you for that. That was a good little preview. Did
Yeah, very
they
nice.
did they say not that you talked to Tim too much, or not Tim? Oh my gosh. Oh, ignore. Any ETA on that project release? Did they
Well,
mention?
in the in the two presentations that I've watched about it, they said something like months or two, maybe.
Yeah, I think that they said that it was going to take a little bit of time because they wanted to make it good,
Hmm.
and this is one of their kind of flagship new features.
Yeah, I mean,
Is that right? You remember
ETA is
hearing
important.
that, Carol?
I like the guy in the like Unreal guy, he was talking about like a 2 months maybe.
Yeah.
He wasn't like very solid on it. He obviously said that we're kind of like still working on it and trying to polish it up. But yeah, it's 2 months. I'm expecting to see it like in 2 months.
Okay. All right. This is great. Thank you, brother.
Thank you.
Applause
Yeah,
for
thanks.
you.
Yeah, great job.